Don't believe everything you read on the internet. Today we're going to debunk some of those myths. It's wicked hard to understand all those myths about Boston. We're debunking them today. Hey everyone, my name is Matt Swierk and I'm a local real estate expert right here in Massachusetts with the Legacy Star team powered by Keller Williams Real Estate. So if this is the first time to our YouTube channel and you're looking to find out everything there is about eating, sleeping, drinking, playing, and some of those myths about living in Boston, you've come to the right place. So you want to subscribe and make sure that you click the little bell so every time we produce a new video, you're going to be notified. So with doing all these videos, we definitely have lots and lots of people reaching out to us. We get a lot of emails of people asking, what about this? What about this? And we really, really love the fact that we can be a great resource to people in our great state of Massachusetts. So if you have questions, we're going to give you answers. All you need to do is you can send us an email, you can call us, you can text us, you can send smoke signals. However you reach out, we're going to reach back. And remember, we always get you back when it comes to Massachusetts. All right, so today we're talking about some of the myths about living in Boston. We have a couple of them. They're kind of interesting. You know, we hear it quite a bit, and we definitely want to debunk those today. The first one that we're going to talk about is the idea that people call this Beantown. No, we don't call it Beantown. There was, back in colonial days, baked beans were a staple of this area. However, no one really comes to Boston for baked beans. One of my favorite restaurants, The Fours, does serve baked beans, but that's a whole other situation. Go back to one of our other videos about favorite restaurants and you'll find that one. And what's funny about it is that we really don't have a claim to fame as far as food is concerned. And I think the closest thing you could say would be like a Boston cream pie. And it would be really weird if it was called Pie Town. So when you come here, don't call it Beantown because none of us do. So that's myth number one, out the window. Number two, this is one of my favorite ones, is that some people have said that we are the worst drivers in the country. It's not true. Not true at all. Go on Allstate, you can see who ranks the worst. We're pretty close. We come in just third from the bottom, but we are not the worst. You can definitely go over to Washington, D.C., and then the worst place to drive is over in Baltimore, Maryland. So we're not the worst. So take that one and you can throw that out the window as well. Now, this one I think is also pretty funny because I used to work with someone that lived in Pennsylvania, and she used to say the roundabouts are so confusing here. And my first question was, what is a roundabout? And then I realized that everyone outside of Massachusetts calls we call them rotaries. Everyone else calls them roundabouts. And what's interesting about these traffic circles, which what they are, they're rotaries, is the big myth is that you have the right of way when you're going into the rotary. No, that is not true. When you're in the rotary, you have the right of way. So when you merge into that, be cautious because that person that's already in the rotary has the right of way. So that's a fun thing there. And I will say one of the myths of as far as some of the roads of Boston, they are pretty bad because remember, as far as the birth of the country here, we have a lot of old horse trails. So some of the modern cities that are grids, really simple to drive around. However, we have some challenges. So we're not going to talk about that. All right. So the other one that one of our big claims to fame, and I'm definitely I'm in a fun mood today. So you might have heard this song, "Where Everybody Knows Your Name," right? Cheers. Well, as far as Cheers is concerned, big myth. There is no Cheers, right? You can wander around and try to find the restaurant called Cheers. It doesn't exist. There's actually a place called the Bull and Finch Pub. Really has nothing to do with the TV show. You're not going to find Sam Malone in there. It's a pretty funny thing because there is one tiny little sign that says Cheers so people can find it, but there's no actual Cheers in Boston. So if you're coming here, looking for that, or you're looking for everybody to know your name, that's not going to happen either. Now, I want to say this without bragging, because I think it's been probably a couple days since we won a championship here in Massachusetts. Sorry, I got to throw that in there. So the big thing is that with such a demand for sporting events, people think it's impossible to get tickets to our events. And that's a big myth. So you definitely can go to the box office. You might not get the best seats, but you can get, last minute tickets at the box office. You can always get tickets at a secondary market. Of course, you're going to pay more of a price going to some of those other venues. And then, of course, one of my favorites is, if you haven't got the tickets from the secondary place, if you haven't got them from the box office, what do? You got to go find a scalper on the street, right? There's a couple guys selling tickets. It's pretty funny because you can't scalp tickets on the site of the venue. So just right across the street, guys can illegally sell tickets and it's perfectly fine. And just be careful that you don't buy fake tickets. We're very proud of our history here. And we have a lot of roots to the birth of the country. I keep saying that. Again, Plymouth Rock's not that exciting. However, the big myth is this idea of like this great exciting Boston Tea Party, right? What an awesome time, like, woo, we're throwing tea all over the place. No. That was not a party at all. And if you go back and study some history, there was a historian, Ray Raphael, he wrote basically that it wasn't this rip-roaring, exciting thing that people think it was. Really for half of a century, most of the early Americans really shunned away from this idea because, if you think about it, the people that were protesting against the British government basically could face prosecution or a lawsuit, right? And that event actually, led into a long, ugly Revolutionary War. Great for our country, but it was definitely not a party. So that's a myth. That one you can, we just debunked that one and you can throw it out the window. This is a good one here, and of course I got to throw out my Boston accent. People like to put us on a show and treat us like little circus animals, right? So they're like, oh, say something funny, say something like "ka," right? So yes, a lot of us don't pronounce our R's for some strange reason, and there's always park your car in Harvard Yard, right? For those of you that don't speak Bostonian, that was park your car in Harvard Yard. Okay, you can't do that. There's no place to park in Harvard Yard, right? Harvard Yard is definitely part of the college campus. There's an awesome place called Harvard Square, and you can park around that a little bit. I wouldn't recommend it because it's pretty tight to get in and out of, but there is no parking in Harvard Yard. So you can't park your car in Harvard Yard. Is what it is. Okay. Another big myth I think that we have to debunk right now is that we're not friendly. We are friendly. Look at me, right? So sorry, cheesy. But listen, I think it's pretty interesting. I moved out of the area. I moved out to Seattle, Arizona, and Seattle for a little while, and then I came back and definitely got the taste of both coasts and a little bit kind of the Southwest, which was a great experience. However, someone had asked me, they said, is there a big difference between the two coasts? And I think what happens, we get the reputation of not being friendly is because we are a little guarded. However, once we get to know you, like we'll take the shirt off of our back, we'll take a bullet for you, like we're there for you, right? So we are friendly. Just maybe give us a Dunkin' Donuts and we'll be really excited. Sorry, I had to plug our local coffee shop here, or coffee chain. So that one's out the window. Another thing, I get to test my singing voice today is, the idea of, I love that dirty water, but Boston, you're my home. All right, so that song is about the Charles River. It's not actually about the Boston Harbor. We're talking about the Boston Harbor. Big myth on this one. And the Charles River. Charles River was dirty at one time. However, there's a lot of misconception that the Boston Harbor is absolutely filthy. Right now, yes, at one point in time, it was not a nice place to swim in. I always make the joke that the city I grew up in, Quincy, which is just south of Boston, I would see people in the water and I'd be like, they're not from here. They shouldn't be there. And really, there has been a huge push to clean up the harbor, right? And it once became a presidential campaign issue because the harbor was so dirty. And really what happened is there was the Boston Harbor cleanup project, and they have done an incredible job as far as making the harbor a great place to be able to swim. A lot of the beaches have reopened, and they have opened a lot of the Boston Harbor islands where, as a kid growing up, we just kind of saw them from a distance. You could never go there. And they actually opened up this whole system where you can go to all the different islands. You can actually take a ferry over there. You can spend a day there kind of walking around, and a lot of cool things to do there. So the harbor's not as dirty as it used to be. So those are some of the things as far as the myths of Boston. Those are some of the myths about living here in Boston, and I hope you appreciate that we debunked all those. It's not as bad as people make it out to seem. So if you have questions about where you want to move to, where you want to visit, some fun things to do, you definitely want to reach out to us. You have questions, we have answers, and all you really need to do is you can send us a text, you can give us a phone call, send us an email. We'll always respond. We love all the questions, great or small. Remember, when it comes to Massachusetts, we've got you back.